Yeah, David Dread of Steel Pulse, and I'm saying hail to Lion Voice, because it's time that the lion have its voice, have its own story. Says I'm stepping out here, hear me now. Oh, yeah, the lion's voice. Raw.
I'm Nana Farika. The time has come for the lioness to tell her story from her viewpoint and tell the world who Queen Omega is. This is the lion's voice.
Yes, I have a daughter and I have a sister there, the mother of my child. Yeah. We're still here together. So you just have to know yourself as a Rasta man. So
is the Eye Queen, where in Ethiopia is the Eye Queen from?
She's from, originally her family is from Hara, but it's in Addis Ababa. I met her and she's been living up here in Shash since we've been together for a while.
Okay.
Yeah. She has I built her own yard for her, so she lives in her own yard.
Okay.
And we balance it out. Yeah, we have one youth. Right now, I'm just about, by tomorrow, I have to go into Addis Ababa to renew my status. Every 5 years, we have to pay a substantial amount of money, which is a very contentious matter. We shouldn't, in this day and age, have, right now, when we first started, it was just 200 US, which was about 10,000 baht. Now it is 300 US, and they have devalued the baht. So now it's almost 24,000 baht you have to find. Which is very, very, very difficult to raise that amount of money just to be staying into Ethiopia. And I'm here already 30 years.
And the land of Ethiopia has been experiencing 4 years of terrible famine and drought. They call it the Kikuken, or the evil days. At least 1/3 of the human population and 90% of the cattle have died. The hyenas have feasted on so many carcasses that they have become overweight and barely able to move. Just when the people could take no more of the evil days, a woman named Wasiro Yeshimabe is giving birth in a place called Erjersa Gora. This is her 9th attempt to bring forth new life. Her previous 8 attempts only resulted in death. Will this child live? Thankfully, a healthy baby boy is born. His first cries are drowned by thunder and lightning flashes across the night sky. The heavens open up and torrential rain starts to fall. Ethiopia's drought is over, and the baby boy is given the name Tafari, meaning one to be feared or respected. Lich Tafari's father, Ras Kabinda, is a very important man in 1892 Ethiopia. Although he is overjoyed at the birth of his newborn son, he cannot spend much time with him. Ras Kabinda is the governor of Harar and must get back to the famous walled city to deal with its affairs. Furthermore, he is the foreign minister of Ethiopia, and having traveled to different places in Europe, he is very aware of the material and military advances they have made and the looming threats they pose to his country. Ras Kabinda knows that the majority of Ethiopians have no idea what is coming, and that he has to work that much harder to secure the realm. Lich Tafari would grow up to become the legendary emperor, Haile Selassie I. To understand his journey, we must first understand the Ethiopia that he was inheriting, and what it was like when he was born in 1892. Get your copy of Kwesi Bansu's book, Haile Selassie I, Ethiopia, Volume 1, The Rise of the Priestly Warrior Kings, and increase your knowledge about the history, politics, and culture of Ethiopia in 1892, and how it connects to the rest of African and world history at the time. Haile Selassie I, Ethiopia, Volume 1 is available for purchase at www.bookmanexpress.pub. Please visit for more information.
One of the things that I really want to talk about on this channel is the reintegration process, because we talk about repatriation, but we don't talk about what happens after you reach Africa, because I say that on the ground, that's the front line, you know what I mean, in terms of right now we're behind the lines. When we go home to Africa, that's where the real struggle for this entity start, because we're going into a land with ancient cultures, poverty, you know, wealth too. But we're going into societies that are familial based, you know, very intricate culturally, you know. So I want to, on this channel, for our global Rastafari audience, really emphasize speaking to ones like the I about what is it like to reintegrate. Yes, repatriation, but what about the reintegration into Africa?
Well,
So,
when I first came here, when I made a proper assessment, at that time, the youth and them in this junior secondary school especially, they had no facilities. A lot of them were still on the trees being educated. There were no desks. There were not sufficient school rooms because these things had been neglected. So like I told you before, we had come as a federation to build a vocational training center, and that did not come true. When the brother called Ras Tafari came to Ethiopia and he reasoned if I show what are the needs that we see amongst us, I showed him His Majesty say all who love Ethiopia build schools. So when we went into the junior secondary school, we decided to commit ourselves to assist in organizing the community and to build a 4-classroom structure. So we financed most of the works. We got the community to bring in wood and different things and to mix the chica and different things like that to give certain amount of labor. And then we sponsored the buying of the cement and all the works and paying up the workers. And in one primary school they called the Edumada, which was originally first built by the Federation in the early days. We built a 4-classroom structure there. And then in another school in the center of the town called Bugagudina, we also built a 3-classroom structure and helped them to complete the building of a library. So in that early day period, to I and I, that was the emphasis. You need to make sure that the youth and them gets in basic education within the system. So we did those works there as a beginning, and then we went into, like I said, we went into business afterwards as a HIM Institute, dealing in agro-industry. But we still persistent, even the Federation up to now, we still assist up and on in the same Edumada school, raise certain funds on the outside and come in and help them to assist to finish build up the kindergarten, different things like that. So we integrate to that levels on a practical sense. Yes. So in that way, the people actually see where your heart is, because you come in from abroad and you don't really have no direct ties with them, but they see where you give commitment, where plenty of their own find it hard to contribute towards the furtherance of education for their own children. Okay. So in that regard, we relate it like that. And also, like I say, through having a practicing herbal practitioner, the people and them have come to I and I in a oneness, because a lot of them get sick, illnesses that doctors cannot cure, and I've been able through herbal treatment to bring them back, to take care of them, to heal their babies when they get burned, to cure them from cancer, from high blood pressure, diabetes, etc., from, you know, whatever illness. Just using the natural means, I've been able to. I use especially myrrh. It's the strongest antibacterial agent in the herbal kingdom. So I use it especially for common illnesses like Georgia and amoebic dysentery. It's the most powerful remedy for that. And then I also use crystallized aloes. You cut the bottom of the aloes and you allow it to drain down. When it drain down, it becomes black. You dry that in the sun, come like a crystallized aloes. You pong it down, turn it into a powder, and then you mix it up with water. It's a master to help clear the stomach of any kind of things that poison in the body system. So we use that to clear out any kind of illnesses that people might have on your skin or in your body, or any internal dysfunction. We use that aloes to clean them out. We also use it to lower high blood pressure, to lower sugar. And these medicines are proved simple but very effective. And then we use artemisia for malaria. So these are the stress that we try to put as the emphasis in which we have integrated it for our people on that level. Yes, I have a daughter and I have a sister there, the mother of my child. And, yeah, we're still here together. So you just have to know yourself as a Rasta man. So
Is
I don't
the Eye Queen, where
succumb to their...
Ethiopia is the Eye Queen from?
She's from, originally her family is from Hara, but it's in Addis Ababa. I met her and she's been living up here in Shash since we've been together for a while.
Okay.
She has I built her own yard for her, so she lives in her own yard.
Okay.
And we balance it out. We have one youth. Right now, I'm just about, by tomorrow, I have to go into Addis Ababa to renew my status. Every 5 years, we have to pay a substantial amount of money, which is a very contentious matter. We shouldn't, in this day and age, have, right now, when we first started, it was just 200 US, which was about 10,000 baht. Now it is 300 US, and they have devalued the baht. So now it's almost 24,000 baht you have to find. Wow. Which is very, very, very difficult to raise that amount of money just to be stayed into Ethiopia. And I'm here already 30 years. So the government is very inconsiderate in that manner, and I have to make more representative.
Did they get the residents that they just recently gave to the ones in Shashamane? Was I one of the recipients?
Yeah, I was the first one I was the first one to get it, because before I had an investment license, so I used that advantage, and I was the first one to receive that 5 year. So after the 5 years, you can apply for citizenship.
Okay.
So you have to be fluent in a language, I believe, for you to get that criteria. But when I go down, I'll be questioning them, because I have served 5 years and I'm here 31 years. I should not be paying that amount of money to be working and living in Ethiopia. That is a bit hard.
Explain to the global family that whole process in terms of the granting of that recognition, why it was granted. You know, because this is a global audience that will see this, and Ras Tafari from all over the world, as the land they want to go to. So I want the Eye, who has been there 30+ years, to really give ones a practical reality today about Ethiopia and the residency situation.
The residence permit that we have now acquired came after years of representation to the government, because most of us at that time were illegal. Most of us had gained legitimacy through becoming investors during the previous government. But then when they changed the rules of the investment, saying that you have to have a certain amount of money and we couldn't meet up to the required amount, then we were in limbo. For instance, I was 3 years illegal. It would have cost me almost 300,000 if I wanted to leave the country. So we were fighting to get that right to have a status in the country and to get legitimacy and amnesty for the time that we were here illegal. So after several years, under the one who is the director now of the World Health Organization, Tewodros, at that time he was the foreign minister, he was the one who brought us down into Addis, and then they agreed to it, and we had a reasoning with them, and they agreed to grant us those status, especially for those of us who had been here for more than 10 years. Now I think the time is a little less, but that was the first basis on which we were granted it. So it was over for 5 years, and at that time it was just 200, about a 10,000. First time it was almost just about a 5,000 baht, but now it is quite ridiculous, because they have devalued the baht almost 82% in order for the government to get a loan from the IMF, which is total insanity. We can legalize the herb, get involved in the medical cannabis industry, and Ethiopia had the potential to raise 19 billion a year. Instead, they suppress the herb with a vicious cycle, and now you're begging the white man for money, and he put in such stringent regulations upon you. Just now, it might be social upheaval, because price of everything has skyrocketed. When you devalue the bird by 82%, that means a total lack of economic sense.
But the Almighty has manifested himself in physical form and was born as Ras Tafari Makonnen. Through hard work and diligence he attained the title of the chess match, when he fought in many wars and was crowned as Ras. By the will of the people he was given the title of Negos, and by destiny Nogus and Agas, the King of Kings. I and I are his children. One day we a go do where Marco say. Take a long journey across the ocean wave. One day we'll do things Ras Tafari way. One day we are will give Jah thanks and praise. One day we a go do where Marco say. Take a long journey across the ocean wave. One day we'll do things Ras Tafari way. One day we gonna free our mental slave. One day we a go live better. Be that listen, I see I speech and overstand every letter. One day we a go live well. Spread I listen, I see I teach and drop the wicked down the hell. Escape Vatican spell. Escape the grave, I and I are the slave that rebel. Safe in a Zion we will dwell. I see I listen, I see I face while treading as him angel. One day we a go do where Marco say. Take a long journey across the ocean wave. One day we'll do things Ras Tafari way. One day we are will give Jah thanks and praise. One day we are go do where Marco say. Take a long journey across the ocean wave. One day we'll do things Ras Tafari way. One day we gonna free our mental slave. One day a heaven and the earth. Everywhere you search, man a hill I listen, I see I the first. One day the guns will stop burst. One day the preacher will go tell the youth the truth in the church. One day the youths will stop curse. One day the sun will provide the energy for do the work. One day there will be no more pain and hurt. One day we take a aeroplane and splurge.